Welcome to part 2 of a simple SSIS example. Thanks for coming back. And if you remember, in part 1, we created our connection. And so in our data flow task here, remember we dropped the data flow task onto the control flow tab. And then if we double click the data flow task, or we can just move to the data flow and choose that particular task from the drop down, and we only have one there. This is our data source, and of course if I right click on it and go to edit, I can see what I've connected to. I've connected to the AdventureWorks 2012 database. I'm accessing a table, and notice the icon table, Human Resources Department. So now I've already said I want to take the data that's in that table and pump it out or move it to a flat file, a text file, okay? And so what I'm going to do now is choose a destination, notice other destinations, and I will choose a flat file destination. And so I will drag this on. Now I want you to notice what I'm going to do here. I'm going to click this, and you'll notice there are these two precedence indicators, constraints, whatever you want to call them. And I don't want to discuss them a whole lot right now, okay? But I just want to take this left one here, this blue one, drag it down to the file destination and let it go. Now this is telling me that data is going to flow from here to here. But by connecting that, it allows this to see up into this table, okay? So what I can do now is right click and edit my flat file destination. Now it says, okay, I need a connection to your flat file. Do you have one? And I'll just create new and create one. And I want to choose the format, delimited, fixed width with row delimiters or ragged right, and I will just choose delimited, all right, because I'm going to just create basically a comma, a delimited file. Now it says, okay, what file name? Well, I don't have one, but I do want to put one out on the desktop, okay? And so I will click desktop and see if I have any. And notice I have a VTC test export out there, but I want to show you something a little different here. Let's just do VTC HR export. There's VTC HR export. I'll put an underscore in there so it's a little easier to read. And then I'll just click open. Now that will actually create that file for me. And notice I want to put my column names in the first data row. All right. Now notice I can click on columns right here, and this will show me what my columns are going to look like. I can preview this and see what's going on, okay? And notice I don't have any data out there in my flat file yet, and so I will just say okay here. Then notice I've got my connection to there, and then remember we did the little drag and drop thing here and connected these. Based on that connection, I can click on mappings right here, and notice I can see that I'm coming from the source to the destination, and it's just going to move this data like this, okay? Now I can change these. I can change them visually. I won't do it right now. That looks okay to me, so I'm just going to click OK. All right? And now all I have to do is come up here and click on Start Debugging, and I'll run this in debug mode. And so I'll just click on that, and it'll run, and you should see some green things start to show up here. It'll take it just a minute to kick off and start running. This is the absolute first time I've run this thing, and so it'll have to set up its environment in just a moment here, and then it'll start to run. Okay, notice we got two check marks, all right, and I'm going to let these go away right down here. Okay, for now we don't need to see these, but I can see output, and if I click on output, I don't see anything here that should concern me, but notice it is showing me that all this happened. Notice flat file destination wrote 16 rows, and what I'll do now is minimize my data tools environment. Here's my VTC HR export. I'll double click that to open it, and notice there are my 16 rows. Notice the top row are my column names, and then I'm comma delimited data on the rest of it. Okay, pretty cool stuff. It's really that simple. Now obviously we can get a lot more complex with this, but what I want you to remember here is that it really is all based on this. Now I'm going to stop this package. We're still running in debug mode. Now I want you to notice something. This is a data flow, and this is the control flow. So notice all that stuff is going on. All of this stuff right here these steps are going on inside this data flow task, okay? And we could rename this, to be, move HR data, department data to flat file, whatever. What we've done here is we've created a simple one data flow task, SSIS. Notice that we can save this now as a package. Notice package.dtsx, and reuse this later, set it up to run on the schedule, do all kind of cool stuff with it, okay? But for now, that's all I want you to see. Very simple example. We set a source, we set a destination, we establish a path between them, and then we can do all kind of cool stuff with that. We'll build on this and play with it as we move through the course now.